You're basically saying that this is the new Bitcoin. You're getting in at a very early stage.
Correct. That's right.
You never would have guessed it, but the pain trade for crypto is apparently Bitcoin going to the moon and leaving the alts completely behind. And that's kind of been the story of this cycle, but it's been the story because of one critical detail, which we'll talk about right now. And spoiler alert, it's all about to change. Seeing Bitcoin take off and leave the alts behind is absolutely atrocious. It's like being at an orgy and none of the girls show up, which, to be fair, that might be ideal for some of you. But the truth is that this is all about to flip, and it flips the exact second that ETH starts to pump. That's right, there's a lot of cool stuff that we'll go over in a second, like whales buying ETH at a historic pace, Trump declaring again that he's going to spend more than any president, kind of, the Genius Act and soon the market structure bill, interest rate cuts, and of course misses on income growth. All of these insanely structurally bullish things, but no, we all want those meth hit level altcoin gains. And a lot of people have led you to believe that that's simply not going to happen because this market cycle is somehow different. But the reality is that that is wrong. And that is wrong for one simple reason. And that reason, my friends, is Ethereum. Now think about it for a second before we get into the nitty gritty here. What happens to an industry where the number one altcoin in the industry, Ethereum, doesn't perform? A lot of people are saying, hey, look, it's ETH's fault. Solana's better, cheaper, faster. Everyone wants Solana, and it's just Solana's time to shine. Well, I would challenge you to put yourself in the shoes of the institutional investor, the biggest money bags in the world, Larry Fink, BlackRock & Co., who, by the way, have not filed for a Solana ETF, only an Ethereum ETF. Ask yourself, what do they look for in an asset? Why are they so bullish on Bitcoin? And the answer is that it is durable. It has stood the test of time and it has trust. Those are the pieces of the pie that lead to institutional adoption. And that is the holy grail in this cycle, is getting stuff to be adopted by the instos. But in order to do that, in order for any of the altcoins to start catching these massive bids, we need the king of all altcoins to start catching a bid, and that is Ethereum. Until Ethereum pumps, the overall optimism and belief in altcoins as investments is going to be low, because the king of all altcoins is still at a low confidence interval. It makes total sense. So as soon as we start seeing this ETH chart, which, by the way, if you zoom out and take it on the weekly, it doesn't look too bad. Essentially, the thing has continued to grind up cycle over cycle, year over year. And yes, it is down from the ultimate highs, but I don't know, the ETH chart just doesn't look so bad. And it's really right at this $2,500 inflection point. This is like the exact middle, where above it you get, raging bull run, below it you have bear market, above it bull, below it bear. It's just kind of like this perfect middle ground. And obviously there's no perfect way to say, oh, this is the exact level to be buying ETH. But with the backdrop that we're about to go into, it does feel like it's insanely free money not to buy ETH. And don't take it from me, take it from legendary bull and crypto pioneer Tom Lee over at Fundstrat. Listen to this interview he just conducted over on CNBC.
I'm still a big fan of Bitcoin because I think it is, digital gold. But what we've seen in the last, really in 2025, is the financial services industry and crypto are converging. And it really started with stablecoins, which is the ChatGPT of crypto, right? Because it's viral adoption by consumers, businesses, banks, and now even Visa. Underneath the stablecoin industry is Ethereum. That is really like the backbone and architecture of stablecoins.
So that's the thesis in general, is that stablecoins we've all been hearing about. We know it's the crack cocaine of the universe, but it is absolutely a bull case for Ethereum. It's also a bull case for DeFi, which we'll talk about here in a second. But that Stablecoin Act, that Genius Act that just passed the Senate and is about to be voted into law, that is one of the biggest catalysts for Ethereum. As Tom Lee will explain here, the US government itself, its own projections, not some moon boy YouTuber, but the actual Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the US government, are predicting trillions of dollars in stablecoins, and that's going to be a moonshot for Ethereum. Listen to this.
It's important to create a project that essentially accumulates Ethereum to essentially protect and have some influence on the network. So that's why we're creating this treasury vehicle to buy Ethereum. The more Ethereum that's accumulated, the more secure the network is. And I think it's also sort of the architecture that future banks will have. When Goldman issues a stablecoin and JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum, as a layer one blockchain, they're going to want to secure it by staking Ethereum. So we're trying to get in front of that by creating a treasury.
So just like you heard, stablecoins are coming and they're coming in the masses. And this is a massive bull case for Ethereum. But you probably already know all this. But I want to blow your mind a little bit with the scale of stablecoins and what that's going to mean for Ethereum, how it's going to impact the treasury end of the economy, and why Ethereum succeeding is effectively intertwined with the success of America itself. And I know that sounds insane, but walk with me down this path because it's not insane. It's actually just math.
Let's say stablecoins, which is $250 billion today, gets to Treasury Secretary Bessent's reasonable $2 trillion. That's a 10 times increase in size. By the way, already stablecoins are the 12th largest holder of treasuries. They'll become the #1 holder by then.
So now we get to the most important part, which is that stablecoin issuers, if this plays out the way Scott Bessent at the Treasury wants it to play out, stablecoin issuers will be the single biggest consumer of U.S. federal debt. Now, what is the United States' biggest issue? It's that not enough people are buying the debt. We have too much debt to refinance. We have too much debt. Who's going to buy the debt? As the debt grows, less and less people want to buy it, but stablecoin issuers are forced to buy it because it's the only thing they can buy. So in a way, the growth of the stablecoin industry is offsetting the biggest problem that America faces today. And the biggest stablecoin platform is and will continue to be for a very long time, Ethereum. So with all that in mind, we now turn our attention to the charts where Ethereum is sitting in this limbo zone between bull and bear, and we ask ourselves, how is it possible that the future payment rail of the intergalactic metaverse, Ethereum, is not going to go up from here? Let me be completely blunt. Anything is possible. An asteroid could come hit a Middle Eastern country. They blame it on Israel and poof, nuclear war. Who knows what's going to happen? And in fact, I'm starting to wonder if every time ETH starts to heat up, they don't manufacture some crisis just to get some more cheap coins out of us. I know it sounds crazy, but this is how deep the conspiracy could go, because the people behind the biggest banks, the BlackRocks, the JP Morgans, they know that this is the future settlement layer of the world. And so why wouldn't they manipulate it down to control more of it? I'm starting to think that this last bear market, this current altcoin pain cycle, has just been one big extended BDSM for altcoin lovers, where we're forced to bite down on the bullet and deal with it. Because the reality is that things are way more bullish than we could have ever imagined for Ethereum. And that the big banks, the big powers that be, understand that for the first time. Because once this moves, as soon as Ethereum moves up just a little bit, what we see is that often ETH BTC, which is this Ethereum Bitcoin pair, which is at the range lows, almost the lowest that it went all throughout the last bear market in 2018 and 2019. This was the ultimate low of 0.16. It pretty much touched that. Look, it almost touched it right here. So you're pretty much at the ultimate range lows here, as this, vertical bar is supposed to be the end of quantitative tightening. We haven't seen that because Jerome Powell has been stubborn. But guess what? That too is coming to an end. And it's not just coming to an end, but it's coming to a full-blown reversal. As soon as ETH starts really going, Bitcoin dominance is going to plummet. And with it, faith in altcoins is going to go parabolic. This beach ball underwater effect for altcoins is going to come out, and I believe that in my bones. The other thing I believe in my bones is that this is going to be one of the biggest and most extended cycles we've ever seen. And that's because we're just about to start spending on a whole new level. Look at this. As Donald J. Trump says, for all cost-cutting Republicans, of which I am one, remember, you still have to get reelected. Don't go too crazy. We will make it all up times 10 with growth, more than ever before. So what is he saying here? He's saying that this whole control the deficit, cut the budget, all that stuff, throw that away. As Lynn Alden says, nothing stops this train, okay? Nothing stops this train. What is going to happen is that Donald Trump and everyone in office understands that they cannot control the budget without effectively sacrificing re-election, because the baby boomers who are getting welfare, who are getting Social Security, who are getting Medicare, they paid into those systems their whole lives and they're going to get paid back. But guess what? The system cannot afford it. So you have a problem that can only be fixed by having massive amounts of economic growth, which is why Trump is no longer talking about cutting spending, but he's talking about outgrowing the spending. Again, this is one of the biggest, most tacit omissions that we've seen, that we're going to see unchecked government spending over the next few years. We also have the Genius Act now, reopening the door to stablecoins from the biggest tech companies and issuers in the world. And I think that this is going to be absolutely huge. I have a clip here. I'm not going to play it, but I'm talking with Daniele Sesta here. You can go check it out on my Twitter. And if you engage with this, you could potentially be eligible for a black hole airdrop. But I'm saying here, we finally have a timeline. According to David Sachs, the Senate Banking Committee chair, Tim Scott, as well as Senator Lummis, have announced that the bill will be introduced before August recess. The first markup will be September, and that it will be done by end of September. That president supports the Clarity Act. This is the second piece of massive crypto legislation that will allow us to know for sure, hey, is DeFi legal? And if it is, here's the way to do it. Here's the way to issue tokens. Here's the way that you as a startup can issue a token and do it fully legally and never wonder if Uncle Sam or some other regulator with 3 letters is going to clamp down on you. That is the thing. That is the green neon flag, okay, that every single bank, that every single big institution needs to see before they hit buy on any of these assets. But as soon as they do that, the stablecoin bill mixed with the market structure bill, the Clarity Act, Genius and Clarity, those are going to form the most powerful bull case that you've ever seen for all altcoins, but specifically for stablecoins and DeFi, which live primarily on ETH. The future of France, as we used to say, that's real. We're not just going to see this grow for a few months and then die. These altcoins are going to start becoming the target of institutional flows that continue to expand and compound over months, over years, and yes, over decades. This is the future of the financial world that we're getting to invest in before it goes parabolic. And as this ETH BTC ratio starts to reverse itself, right, little by little, maybe it takes months, maybe it even takes a year or two to get back up to where it was, who knows? But we will start to see this incredible run of Bitcoin dominance top out and eventually come back down. I mean, as you can see here, Bitcoin dominance has ever only been about 73, right? So this is the ultimate tippy top. Obviously, you can't really count these early years. Bitcoin dominance, you can see here, topped out last bear market up at about 73%. You can use this one, which is removes all the stable coins, and it shows that Bitcoin dominance is already at 71%, topped out about 74% last time. So we're close. We're close to the ultimate range highs of Bitcoin dominance. That doesn't mean that it can't surprise us, but I do think with everything on the table, seeing Ethereum make a move up seems much more likely to me than it making a move down. Seeing Ethereum here in the low 2000s, in the high 1000s, the low 3000s, it really reminds me of when we were in DeFi summer and Ethereum was in those $200, $300 range. I mean, all throughout here, all throughout 2020, we had DeFi summer, and yeah, we saw a little bump up in ETH, right? A little bump up in ETH, but it still was barely where it was in 2019, where it had this sort of peak and drop. Certainly nowhere close to where it was in 2021. And people were really, really overly bullish on Ethereum, but it just couldn't make its move. And it was sitting in what I consider to be extremely discount territory. Now let's look at that on the chart. It's all the way down here. We're 10x higher. And I get the same feeling, which is that ETH is setting up to truly be the backbone. Everything we thought might happen with DeFi summer is now happening on the biggest scale with regulation, with legislation. And soon the big banks and institutions will be gobbling up everything that backs this new financial system. That's what I believe is coming to ETH. But what's coming more globally after ETH is an institutional bid on DeFi, and I think a renewed confidence in altcoins in general. Now, a lot of people, like I said, have been rooting for this flippening of Sol to Ethereum. Hey, I was beating the drum myself. I love me some Solana. I think it's still going to be the faster horse compared to ETH. I have equal bags. I have a ton of bags in both. I also love me some Hyperliquid. But you realize how damaging it is to the psychology of the bigger investors when they see something like ETH, which everybody said was the future, which everybody says was the new Bitcoin, and it just dies. It just somehow falls out of the running. That makes this industry so incredibly risky to invest into if some of the biggest protocols can just die off like that. But more importantly, altcoins, I don't think will shine nearly as bright if Ethereum doesn't shine itself. So we should all be rooting for Ethereum. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you hold it, you should pray that it goes up. Because as ETH goes up, the animal spirits, the excitement for our industry in general will go parabolic. And this is right as we're coming into rate cuts. Now, we wanted rate cuts for a long time, and Jerome Powell has dragged his feet. What we know for sure is that the market is saying that there will be at least one rate cut in September. And we know for sure that Jerome Powell is out of the office by May of 2026. So if it's not before then, at least in middle of 2026, we're going to see massive rate cuts. We're going to see the biggest exodus of capital out of short-term yield and into the markets we've seen in our lifetimes. Trillions and trillions of dollars are going to get slammed into the markets. And that's going to be a massive, massive tailwind. It's also going to bring down the affordability of houses. It's going to do a lot of very interesting things. And so this is coming, and we know it's coming. And the longer it takes, the bigger the hit is going to be. So just prepare yourself, because there are a lot of signs here that not only is this not the end of the cycle, but that the cycle hasn't even truly kicked off. The one that we all care about and are excited about, the true mega crypto cycle, has yet to begin. That's something I'm very confident about. And again, I keep showing this. But when you see YouTube subscribers on par with 2019, it should be one of the most exciting things in the world. I totally get if none of this was happening in the background, if the president wasn't literally launching a DeFi protocol, if Senate had not just voted to legalize stablecoins and soon to legalize market structure around DeFi, if the entire world hadn't onboarded to crypto over the last year or two and there wasn't an ETF, I might not be here. I might not be saying the same thing. Hey, I might be waving the white flag myself, but instead, I'm waving the neon green flag. I'm waving the super cycle flag because it's very obvious that we are before the eruption, not after the eruption. That the social metrics being this cold feels like a bear market. It's certainly a bear market in many ways for altcoins. And that means that the prices that we're at right now are much closer to a floor than a ceiling. That's the way I see it. Now, as you guys know, I had a really traumatic event not too long ago, feels like almost yesterday, where I was actually SIM swapped, and that was due to a significant amount of information that I had floating around on the dark web. Well, thanks to today's sponsor, Incogni, you can actually delete your information from the dark web. It is one of the best services that you can use because after a while, there's just collections of your data floating around, letting attackers, phishers, spam callers effectively target you or worse. If you are paranoid about your data being out there, like I certainly am about mine, make sure to check out Incogni. As you can see here, you can get a massive discount just by using my link in the description below. So these prices are not the prices you're going to pay. And again, just like a VPN, Incogni is one of those services that you'll just want running in the modern day. Effectively, you need someone sweeping up your cookie crumbs after you. And most of the time, it isn't even your fault because the services you use, your bank, your Instagram, your social media, those services will get hacked and then your information will get out there, even if you've done everything perfectly. So check out Incogni if you want to clean up your information from the web, and you can get a juicy discount using my link below. Shout out to them for sponsoring this episode. Now, I wanted to take a second to talk about Blackhole, which is of course the new DeFi protocol, which will benefit from all of these tailwinds that I'm talking about. And again, the Blackhole is a child project of the Superverse project, which of course is pretty much my identity here in crypto. This is what I've been working on for the better part of 6 years, the Superverse project, and now it has a very formidable child in the ecosystem, one that could actually outgrow its parent. That's how crazy the moment in time is right now for DeFi. So if you don't know what Blackhole is at all, please go watch this video, leave a comment. As you can see, this thing pretty much went viral here, at least in crypto viral, and you could potentially earn an allocation just by commenting and interacting. Watch this whole video so you understand what we're doing. More to the point, Blackhole is a DEX coming to AVAX, and it is partnered with almost every single meaningful protocol on AVAX, as well as many off of AVAX that are actually coming to bring their tokens to AVAX just to be a part of Blackhole. So one of the great projects is Super Champs. As you know, we're a big fan of Super Champs here on the channel. I'm an advisor, I'm an investor, and Champ is coming over from ETH to bring their tokens and participate in the protocol. We also know that Gunzilla, which is the #1 game in the entire crypto space, the most beautiful AAA Battle Royale, is actually AVAX native and is going to be partnering up and LPing their token into the Blackhole DEX. I personally think that crypto gaming obviously is going to have a massive swing back with the return of excitement to alts, but Gunzilla's token is just wild. It is such a beautiful, incredible game, such an accomplishment, and their token is trading at an insanely low level. Essentially between now and about middle 2026, I think May of 2026, there's not really any emissions. And the thing is trading so cheaply that all it needs is one big kick and it can go crazy. So I'm hoping that Gunzilla can really come up and show that there's some real heat in gaming still. I'm super excited that Gunzilla and Off the Grid are collaborating with Blackhole. There's also the pump fund of Avalanche called Arena. Arena is going to be collabing. I'm actually going to be doing some streams over on the Arena, which is a social product over there. And we're hoping to work with their kind of more meme token launches once they get more mature to use Blackhole to give them more sticky liquidity. Really cool partnership with Arena. Obviously, you know, we are a big fan of AI projects such as Hash AI, which are also coming over from Ethereum, bringing their AI token to Avalanche just to participate in Blackhole. You might remember CDeFi, essentially the leading gaming launchpad. Well, they do much more than gaming now. They're going to be using Blackhole as their exclusive partner for all launches on Avalanche. Paradise Tycoon is putting their Moani token over on Blackhole DEX. Again, another fantastic gaming project. Lucia is coming from Pandora. Suzuka is also coming, which is a liquid staking protocol for L1s. Honestly, I didn't even realize this many partnerships had been announced. There's so many. There's dozens of projects coming over. There's definitely one more I want to cover, Spectre AI, another phenomenal AI project. And you might be wondering, like, why are these projects coming over? What is in it for them? Is it just because it's going to make Elliot happy? He's going to talk about it on YouTube? The answer is absolutely not. To understand why these projects are coming over, you need to understand how Black Hole works. Black Hole uses something called VE33 tokenomics. Now, the way VE33 tokenomics work is that every week, which we call epochs, new black tokens go out to each LP. And so if you're creating a liquidity pool like these partner projects are, they're now eligible to earn black tokens. Now those tokens, they could either sell them, speculate on them going up, but what's really designed to be done is they are designed to be burned permanently so that those projects now can enjoy permanent, forever fees generated by Black Hole. And you know who else is going to enjoy permanent fees forever from Black Hole? That's right, super stakers. Because just today, we have finally announced the Black Hole airdrop. And true to our word, 100% of the liquid tokens are going to the community. That is no private allocations, no VC carve-outs, no backroom deals, no team tokens, no foundation reserves. 100% of tokens for the community. So there are a ton of communities, both legacy communities, communities that are part of the ecosystem like Superverse stakers, imposters holders, Neo Tokyo holders, which is, of course was Alex and I's first project that we created. But there's also a ton of strategic communities like Aerodrome, Curve, Shadow, Thena, Pharaoh, LFJ, Kyberswap. There's a ton of these communities that have highly valuable on-chain participants that we wanted to give some tokens to help incentivize them to join the ecosystem. Now, of course, we are still going to award some Black Hole airdrops for social engagement. So you could win some by engaging right here below this video. If you want to check, you can go navigate to this article, which is on the Black Hole Twitter, and you'll very soon, if not already, be able to check if your wallet is eligible for an airdrop from Black Hole. Now, I will say that there is a very special process that is going to happen here when you do check for your airdrop. If you are an airdrop recipient, you'll have the opportunity to double your voting power. And that's because your airdrop will come in the form of 2 free gifts for you. The first is a VBlack NFT, which is effectively permanent fees from the network. Now, what you can do is you can use your liquid black tokens to supercharge that VE NFT, and you get a massive bonus of 10% more voting power if you do it all at once during the airdrop. The magic here is if everybody supercharges their VNFT all at once right on the airdrop claim day. This is going to give you the biggest bonus, which if you forfeit it, you'll never get the chance to do that again. But also, I want to be very clear. The people who don't do this, who take their liquid tokens and who don't actually supercharge and join the voting aspect, the governance aspect, that is the real goal of this entire model, well, they will be forever excluded from significant rewards that are given out to super holders in the future. We sometimes joke about how sellers get punished. I promise you the people who cheat their black tokens will regret it for the rest of their life. If everybody supercharges their VENFT by sliding that slider all the way to the right, it will be the best possible thing for the protocol. I'm gonna have a ton more Black Hole content. Make sure you're following with bell notifications on my Twitter, because every day there are opportunities to engage for Black Hole tokens and learn more about the protocol. Trust me, you wanna be on Twitter. You wanna be eligible for this stuff. Now, before we go, I'm trying to find the real traders in my audience, as I mentioned on the last video, and there is a $4.2 million trading competition. You could also win a Cybertruck here on Blowfin. They are a partner of the channel, and I've been using them to trade. The experience is fantastic. And also the best traders in this group are going to make it to a private chat with me and other top traders. So if you are an elite trader, go ahead and compete with the link in the description, and you could make it into this private group. You could win a piece of this $4.2 million. And I'm also going to be personally giving out 100,000 super tokens to the best trader under my link as a gift in Q4. So if you're the real deal as a trader, you can trade with my link. Obviously, they have sign-up bonuses and all this cool stuff. But the real prize here is getting into this group where you'll be surrounded by the best traders in the industry, and you could win 100,000 super tokens. That's right, coming straight from me out of my pocket to you. I can't think of a juicier reason to join the trading group. Again, trading is super risky, so if you're not experienced, I'd stay away. But if you think you got the skills, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to be in the group with you, and I'd love to give you some super. So there you have it. We're on the brink of something very special. There are new micro strategies being formed for Ethereum. The goal to accumulate as much ETH as possible at the dawn of truly the new era of DeFi. That is the new race. Bitcoin is digital gold. It is pristine collateral, and ETH is like oil. It is going to be the thing that runs the entire financial system. And everybody's now starting to race to get as much ETH as they can. This is going to be extremely bullish, not just for ETH, not just for DeFi, which are going to be the two early recipients, largely obviously those institutional flows that grow for years and years, but all altcoins are going to benefit from this. This is going to be the 0 to 1 from pain to pleasure moment, actually letting us all bask in the sun of the new alt season. As soon as ETH moves, everything moves. And for that reason, I am so insanely excited and wildly bullish. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on this one popping up right now. I know you'll love it. I'll see you very soon on the next episode.